Hello everybody, welcome back to the workshop. So in this video, we're going to be taking a look at another one of our maple leaf bowl blanks that you can find over at our website, blacksmithingblanks.com. I will leave a link to that down in the description down below. We've previously looked at this bowl blank here, which is our #1 pattern for a leaf blank, if you will, for a maple leaf. Now what we're going to do is we're going to look at our type 2 pattern for a maple leaf. Now this is kind of like more of your traditional stylized maple leaf, and just like in the last video we did a little something different with the maple leaf. This video we're going to do something different again. This is going to be turned into a dish or a bowl, if you will. They can be converted into spoon rests for kitchens, maple syrup holders for that favorite Canadian in your family, or anything else that you might want to have a maple leaf for. So we're going to focus on type 2 today. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get this thing good and hot. I will chase in a center vein using nothing more than a hot chisel. We're going to make it pretty simple today that anybody can do. You could use a slitting chisel, or if you don't feel comfortable doing it hot to begin with to start, you may want to use a cold chisel and cold chisel it in while it's nice and cold first. But we're going to start there. Let's go ahead and get it hot. Okay, so working from the very tip out towards the tip, we're going to start there and start chiseling in our center line. This doesn't have to go deep. We're not trying to cut all the way through this piece. We're just trying to give the inference of a vein, a center vein. Just trying to make it look like it has a center vein. You might find it helpful to let your glove cool off at this point. This gets mighty spicy. I'll go ahead, put one more in here, just like so. If you find that you need to deepen it up in any areas, you can do so while it's cooling down, where it's not so hot. And do any little cleanups of the line that you must. All right, so there we have it. There's our one line down the center. It is my recommendation that usually in any of these blanks, anytime that you have a leaf, do your center vein first, then all your branching veins off of there. So I'm going to go ahead and get it hot again, and then I'm going to go ahead and draw in some, I'm going to go ahead and use the chisel to cut in some connecting veins. Nice and hot again. I'm going to start out towards my next tip, making some overlapping cuts as I go all the way back to the base. And stopping just shy. So hopefully we can see how that looks. We're stopping just shy of connecting those two. Reason for that being is we don't want to overcut it. We want to stop just shy of it or just ahead of it in order to not overcut it. So now that I've got that one done, I'm going to do the equal to the other side. Now that I've got the other side done, down to where I want it, now I'm going to go back up to the tip, and I'm going to run off some little side runners here. I'm going to start by starting back at my central vein, and then hammering those out towards the tips of the leaf there. Take this time to clean up any little cut marks you have that didn't quite work out right. And there you go. Now we've got our branching there. Sometimes less is more with this, but you do as many of these cut lines as you feel is necessary to sell the look of being a maple leaf for yourself. Okay, so we have this thing done with the vanes. Now, what I'm doing to make this completely my own and how I want to play with it myself in my own shop, again, you can do whatever you like here. I'm going to add some ball peen texture to it. Not directly on the vanes we just cut in, but all around them and on the rest of the leaf to give it a kind of a pebble textured look to it, just so this way when it's finished off nicely, it has an interesting look. You can use something like a broader peen on a ball peen if you want a more scalloped, looser look. I'm just going to use a regular ball peen texture here. You could cross peen this. There's a lot of different things you can do to add texture, interest, and fun. The only thing I will recommend though is make sure you stay off of the vanes that you've worked so hard to crisply define. So that is the only prerequisite here that I have for myself. So I'm going to use those as kind of like my little bumper guides and try not to hammer directly on them, but hammer all around them as I add texture to this piece. I think this could be very striking, and it's going to give a lot of interest to this finished vessel, or this finished dish, if you will. Now remember, the colder this gets, the harder you have to swing the hammer, in which case sometimes that works against you for accuracy. So be careful that you don't swing, that you don't work this too cold. I know it's real tempting to do as much as you can in a heat, but your hammer accuracy suffers the harder and faster you have to hit this thing. All right, I've already gotten most of the rest of this leaf textured. I'm finishing up this last little part, working around this side of the leaf. As you can see, I've moved to wearing a glove on my hammer hand. The reason for that being is I'm now crossing over the leaf. So I've got other parts of this leaf that are nice and heated up, very heated up to be exact. And those get really hot on the knuckles when you go around this. All right, so there we have it. I'm going to go ahead and straighten this out, flatten it a little bit. We don't want any curves in it until we want curves in it. I'll brush this real good at the end of this heat. And the reason for this being is I'm checking for any places where I want to add more texture, if I want to add more texture. There's a little bit right here. Add a little bit there. There's a little bit right there. There you go. I can be pretty happy with that. So now after you've done your texturing, or not, if you just want to do the vanes and do something else, completely up to you. If you want to copy this exactly, go right ahead. Now what we need to do is we actually need to form this up into a bowl. Okie doke, before we get started, I'm going to be using a wooden mallet to do the shaping inside this steel swedge block. This is a 7-inch diameter depression, and it's roughly about 2.5 inches deep or so. Again, that's just some general measurements there for you. This here is just nothing more than a 4x4. Attached to a wooden handle. Just drill a hole and shove a handle in it, basically, and throw a screw after that. So that's as simple as the tooling is there that I'll be using. I'm going to scrape off any debris or junk that's on the backside. Bring out my bowl nice and hot. Over the swedge block I go. Right down with the wooden mallet. And that's going to give it a very nice, even curvature. Now you may be asking yourself, now Roy, why didn't you use a steel hammer for this? what if I don't have a wooden mallet? And those are all really great questions. The reason why I used a wooden mallet for this versus a steel hammer is if I used a steel hammer to sink this, I would mess up the texture and the veins that I've already spent so much time developing and putting inside of this bowl here. So that's why we want to use a soft face mallet, whether it be a rawhide mallet or a wooden mallet, to actually sink our bowls down in our depressions like that, because it stops us from taking out all of our hammer work. Okay, now with a rawhide mallet, I'm going to begin to shape these leaves out the way that I want to see them go. Now, you could do whatever you like here. This is completely up to you. I like giving this just a little bit of curvatures. I like using a rawhide mallet for this purpose. You can use, if you're real careful, you can use a really lightweight hammer if you must. Again, I find a rawhide mallet's really nice because it doesn't mess up with any of our texture that we've already put into this piece. There we go. Nice and simple. All right, clean out that bowl so you guys can see the ruffling on the edge. Let's heat it up and do that to the other side. Okay, now that we've got the front of the leaf where we want it, now we're going to forge out this stem. I'm going to bend it out over the anvil horn, and then I'm just going to hammer this down. Now, if you're making this into a spoon rest, you'll probably want to spread this out in the beginning and then finish cupping it and shaping it here towards the end of your heat. But considering I'm just making this as an artistic piece, it doesn't have to be done that way. Hammering that right up over the horn. Now I'll give it a little bit of kind of crooky curvature to it. Just whatever looks pleasing to my eyes. Again, do what looks pleasing in your own eyes on how you would like it to be done and finished up. All right. And there you have it. That is how you form our maple leaf bowl there, blank number 2. You could do some of the similar techniques in our type 1 blank. I just chose to do this for our type 2 blank to just give you a different option of the things that you can do and what is possible with it. Of course, I'm going to throw my touch mark into this piece. I'll go ahead and throw my touch mark into this piece, and I will finish it out with, different finishes, different types of finishes. Most likely, this will get wire wheeled, and I'll do a Rust-Oleum clear enamel finish on it. Not a sponsor of the channel. It's just probably what I'll probably end up doing is some sort of clear coat finish to it, and then spray it down so that way it's good to use. If you're going to do this in a food grade situation, you just need to rub it down with some food grade wax, some beeswax or some paraffin wax. Some food grade wax or oil will be fine to finish coating this thing with as far as the finish goes. So there you have it. Again, you can purchase these blanks over at our website, blacksmithingblanks.com, if you're interested. And that will do it for today. So thank you so much to all the channel members. We couldn't do this content without your support. If you're interested in becoming a channel member, you get some great discounts on blanks, by the way, over at our website. Really big discounts. So you may want to hit that join button down below, like some of these fine folks that you've been seeing roll across your screen. That's it. God bless. We'll catch you on the next one. Thank you so much for watching.